Okay, hello, welcome to the first live streaming session with isorun. We kind of try to set up a new Ruby on Rails application from the ground up. We will add React to it. We will set up the bundle building steps. We will also add a minimal GraphQL API. We will use Tailwind to make a nice user interface or nice looking user interface. And at the end, we will use isorun to server-side render the application, extract state and everything. I haven't done this before, so it's a first for me, and I hope you're going to like it. I obviously cheated a bit, so here is my, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, Dennis O'Coffee, or Kifi, sorry. Please forgive me for the wrong pronunciation. He has written a nice guide on how to set up a Rails project with ES build and TypeScript. We're going to follow this instruction, then we're going to follow the Tailwind instructions for Rails. We have to fix a few things, but it's not super bad. And yeah, then we'll see if we can get the application running and adding React and so on and so on. And yeah, one step after the other. So I'm going to create a new Rails project, and because I am not super creative today, or do not feel super creative, we're going to create name it isorun demo. I already made my first mistake because I want to initialize it with JavaScript, and I should just follow the guide as I said. So yeah, let's do new isorun demo. -J is just short for JavaScript, and you can choose ES build or whatever. And we're going to set this one up. It takes a bit. And in the meantime, we'll check what is next. We need to create a component directory. We're going to do that. We create an entry, our first application and our component. We're adding React DOM, and what else? Create a controller, makes sense, and then we're going to see if the application actually starts. So that sounds good. If I recall correctly, we'll also create the proc file. So we have to start multiple services, the watch task for the JavaScript files and also the Rails application server itself. And therefore the proc file kind of helps us to have like a single entry point for or like a single command to start our application development. As you can see, like we're installing a ton of Ruby gems. This is still like pretty much standard Rails application, and we don't have to worry too much about that. Okay, cool. So let's create, first of all, let's go into the directory and create app JavaScript, add components, and also create a file called JavaScript components application tsx. Tsx is the TypeScript extension for JSX files like the React XML dialect. No, it's not really XML, but you get the point. So let's add React DOM. Make sure that we save it to the dev dependencies. And then we're going to create a controller components index. I'm actually not sure if I want that. I think I just want like a pages controller and an index action, and that's good. And yeah, first step done. So let's try the whole thing. BinDev is already here, auto-completed, and starts. And we see a new Rails application. Perfect, love it. Okay, so what is the next thing? We need to create our application. So ESBuild will support TypeScript out of the box. So the first thing we want to do is update our file, JavaScript application okay, we can do that. I'm going to open a second tab here and use RubyMine. It's obviously not important which editor you use, but I do really like the JetBrains products. They work well for me. Okay, let's do app JavaScript application, and as the instructions say, we should rename it to TS. Very good. I'm going to put it on the left side of the screen. And then we also have to update the following. Okay, so we're going to go inside here, expand, import components application. So that looks good as well. We leave hotwire tutorials. Finally, we want to update the code within application TSX. Let's do this as well. I'll just copy paste what is in there. And I think we should be able to, okay, looks good. We have created a pages controller and view, so I assume we kind of need to update it the same way we do it here. So components index is pages index. I'm going to call it app, not root. And also config routes needs to be updated. Let's do this as well. So we're going to pick the same as above. Oops, that's our entry point, and we're good to go. So that should give us, I'm not sure, I think I need to restart. No, I don't need to restart. I think at some point Rails forced us to restart, forced us to restart the application when we changed routes, but I don't know if this has changed or I just have like wrong memory. Cool, so we do have a Rails application set up. We do have React set up, and this is all fairly minimal. But we can already see that ES build is set up properly. When we check the proc file, we see it's actually calling a script called build. And when you see yarn build, you just have to check the package trace and you will see a build here, build script here as well. So it uses ES build, scans this directory for changes. And yeah, I do believe this is pretty much what we need right now. We have a React app that, and when we load the network tab here, we should be able to see that. Whoops. Is not loaded, because otherwise we would see like app Rails 7 with ES build as the argument and then hello something. Because I did something wrong, most likely, and this is naming it app instead of root. So something else not working as well. Let's check this one here. We have an error. Not really. Have I disabled JavaScript? No. I don't know why it's not working. I'll just restart one time. Don't trust myself. Don't know what I'm doing. Oh, here we go. Hello Rails 7 with ES build. This is perfect. Okay, cool. So I think we are done with this one. And this looks pretty simple. So I'm going to cheat a bit in using Tailwind. I really like Tailwind. So easy to use. At the beginning, I was kind of like hesitant to adopt Tailwind for my work. But yeah, I just love it. It is simple, it works, and the utility-based approach is, I don't know, I thought it's like more cumbersome to add like a ton of classes all the time, but I mean, it does the trick, so I'm happy about it. Okay, so let's take a look here. We don't want to update this one, and we're good to go. And I think we should see Tailwind working. Whoops. Yeah, here we go. Tailwind has a reset for styles, so this is kind of like expected. Let me fix that by first of all adding a class here and do something like text large for the header. And then we do a break line, not the most beautiful thing. And yeah, okay, this is also probably one font bold. I can recall how, yeah, it's done like this. And I think I need to fix the layout as well. It's kind of in there already. With Stalshi and Tailwind. I think I need to create a proper container or something. I'm going to go to the Tailwind UI website and just try. I think they have a nice example here somewhere, like a page example. Some of them are free, so you can just use them. Oh, this looks awesome. Let's go to React. How does this work? There's a header. They usually do tell you at the beginning that you need to update your HTML and body file. Okay, this is too complicated. I need something more simple. Like a simple page or something. What about a header? Sounds about right. Let's see if we can just use that. And I think that's not a container though. Let me just try something. Remove everything here. And then we're going to add the app here. Remove everything at the bottom. Okay, cool. Yeah, now we're running into the issue of that this isn't working. Because Tailwind does not recognize our TSX files, and therefore it does not generate the necessary styles for the application. And we need to change that. I'm going to stop the application, all the services, and go to app config. Oh, where is it? Tailwind. And here we go. So we do allow TS files, but we don't allow TSX files. And I think there's a nicer syntax for that. Let's try it. TS, TSX, TSX. So oh, it's actually the line below. Could just have looked. And not working. Why isn't it working? Whoops, wrong project. Oh, because we are not in React. We are in good old HTML. And I copied the React stuff, which was not my intention. Here we go. Beautiful. Okay. So we do see this is the React application. When I disable JavaScript, it should no longer show up. Okay, perfect. And the rest is plain old template code in Rails. Okay, cool. Love it. So this is all nice, but what we really want here is, and I already disabled JavaScript already. We want to server-side render the application here as well. And the way this can be done is obviously the project that I'm working on, isorun. So when you take a look at the isorun repository at GitHub, you can kind of like see basic use cases, and there's also like a simple React application, like pretty much the same what we are doing here. And what kind of changes do you need to make to your setup in order to make server-side rendering work with isorun? So first of all, we're going to install the gem, and because I haven't released it on Ruby gems yet, I'm going to cheat a bit and do a local install. I think I already installed one version, so it might just work, but otherwise I have to provide the path. No, it does not know how to build it. So let's just Let's just provide. I think it's path, and I need to actually figure out where this path is. Whoops, that's not what I want. Yeah. Whoops. Package. No, not packages. I want package. I did not create the gem before. Okay, I also know that we have it in downloads. There's like an isorun package, isorun. Here we go. So we want the M1 version of the gem, and we also want to get the full path here. Okay. I mean, this should work. If not, we have a problem and I need to debug it, but that's how it is. Let's try again. Oy, oy, oy. The gem does not exist. Did I mix up the paths? Oh, seriously. Downloads, okay. Package. Oops. Yeah, that's the correct path. Download folder. And here we go. So this is obviously way simpler when it's published, but it isn't. So let's do it this way. It's not a direct. Oh. I can't do it like this. I thought I can point to. Oh, I think I can't point to a gem file. I can only point to a. I can only point to a gem directory. Whoop. Forgot the full. I keep forgetting how stuff works. Actually, I have a few examples, and I could just look it up, but. Okay, isorun. Here we go. Perfect. Love it. Cool. So we do have this little gem installed now. And one thing isorun needs, and you can see this on the website, it needs an initializer. Even when you configure nothing, this is the way isorun is set up. So you need to provide an initializer by default. I might change that because I actually think it should be as convenient as possible. To get isorun up and running, no pun intended, but yeah, that's not how it works today. So cool, that works. I do believe I also need to compile, but I will do that later. And the reason is I don't want to mess up the cross compilation that is currently going on in the background. Builds like isorun builds are relatively heavy because we need to build Deno core, Deno runtime, a lot of extensions. It uses a pre-built binary, a V8 build for the platform, but it still takes forever because it needs to run in the QEMU emulation, and yeah, that's not the fastest. Okie doke. So we do have a demo. When I start now, it should blow up because, no, it actually doesn't blow up. Cool. Might have built, might have a bundle built currently, and we get lucky. Okie doke. So let's follow the instructions on the isorun repo. So we kind of have done this, and the only difference here is that it says we need to hydrate root. So every time, and you can read this up on literally every documentation for server-side rendering, no matter if it's Vue or React, hydration means that you restore the application after the JavaScript file has been downloaded based on what the server has already rendered. So you can think about React usually working like this. You download the JavaScript file, and then it creates all the DOM nodes, But when we server-side render, we already have the DOM nodes created for us. So we just need to make them interactive. And this is what hydration literally does. Like when you have a click event on a, I don't know, on some element here, hydrate will make it work. And before that, it might be just a plain link. So you can do, it's kind of like, you can think of it as like progressive enhancement. It's not really like that, but yeah, anyways, it works. And that's all we care about. Okay, so we have our application here. It's like the most simple Rails application. We might consider making something more fancy later on. But I'm going to change a few things here. So instead of importing React DOM completely, I pick hydrate root from the client subdirectory. And instead of like calling React DOM render here, I call hydrate root. And I think this is, oh, let me check. Hydrate root. I want to see that. Where's it coming from? Secret internals to not use or you will be fired. That's fantastic. I've never seen that before. I am still curious how it looks like, and I can't figure it. I should install types. Let me try that. React. I think it's types, React, and React DOM. Okay, here we go. So we're going to get TypeScript types for React, and that hopefully tells us the full story about hydrate, container, and then the React node. Okay, so it's correct. The container, and then the React application. So it's kind of different. Cool. So this is obviously necessary because we have to wait before, like the JavaScript file is loaded at the top. But I don't want to spoil it too much. Don't want to spoil it too much, but don't want to spoil too much. When we server-side render with isorun, this is not necessary because we actually load the JavaScript file after we have rendered the entry point. So document get element by ID will always work. Let me just replace with this so that we have like a demo that reflects the description. I mean, this is also kind of like a test for myself if my documentation works, and we're going to fix it if something is off. Cool. So nice, like it, and I do believe we are kind of done here. The problem I have now is like my entry point. So we kind of assume in the basic Rails application that we don't have server-side rendering. So we have an entry point, we load the application, and yeah, that's pretty much it, right? And we don't want anything else here, and there's no entry point for the server. The problem with server-side rendering is it needs a specific bundle that the server understands because it's not really running in the browser. And we also want to make sure that the dependencies are packaged into the bundle. And therefore, we're going to create a second entry point. So we're not only going to keep components, we're not going to have components application here. We're going to create the app, an app.js as an entry point, or JS. Let's do, I don't think we need, yeah, let's do, TypeScript, TSX. And let's create an app server TSX. And I'm going to copy everything except the app, or I will actually remove everything but the app, and we'll import the app from components application. And I also need to export the app here. So rename it so it actually matches the component name. And I do prefer uppercase letters for components. It's just a personal preference. Whoop. Looks good. Yeah, that's true. We don't have application anymore. And now we've imported app. And this allows us to do exactly the same for the server side without like having all the overhead of like redeclaring everything for the actual application. So let's close everything and then just take a look. So app and app server is exactly the same. This is obviously not what we want. What we want is on the server side, we want to render to a string, and on the client side, we want to build. We would just run the app on a specific container. So I'm going to exchange what we already have on the server with this little thing here, and instead of importing hydrate root from client, I'm going to import render to string from the server. And because I don't like the order, I will do it this way, and we should be good to go, hopefully. Why is it red? Oh, we don't have provided. We did not provide an argument. That's a big mistake. Let's fix that as well. Okay, nice, cool. So we do have app server and application TS. I think we can remove this line here because we no longer need it. And now we also need to fix one more thing, because we have 3 application files. Application TS, opening the layout, is automatically added here when we create the Rails project. We can leave it here, like it doesn't disturb, but if you want to get rid of it and if you want to fully remove the application here, that's perfectly fine to remove it. Like if we, replace it with app now. Whoops, I need to start the server, forgot that. Okay, then it still works, right? And we don't really care about the application. But as we're going to use isorun, we don't need any of this. So we just leave it as it is. This should not work because now we are not loading anything. Application got the thing removed here. And yeah, we will do it a bit differently. So this looks good, but there is a missing piece here. When we look at app, at the builds folder, we see app and app server, which is perfectly fine because we have 2 entry points and that's what we need. But app server is built the exact same way as the client is built, and sometimes for the server this does not work as expected. So the way isorun works, it uses V8 and it uses the Deno project to provide all the web APIs and set everything up. And there's not necessarily a document or a window object available on the server, and a good server-side rendered module takes that into account. So what we are going to do here is we will change our build settings a bit to have an entry point, or have a build for our client application, for our client-side JavaScript bundle, and a build for our server-side bundle, or the bundle that we use for server-side rendering. Here I explicitly reference a single file, and here as well, but I do believe we want to support multiple files and maybe multiple applications even. So I'm going to do it a bit different. I will create a client and a server directory, which are just meant to be used as entry points for our application. So we will later on change the build scripts, both for client and server, to just look for changes within the JavaScript folder within client and server. And that should pretty much do the trick. So I'm going to move app into client and app server into server. And then we go to the package JSON and change this to client. And I copy paste everything. And then I do build server. And then I do this here. And then I add one little thing to the end, which is, and you can already see it, format ESM, which is ESBuild's command line option to create a correct ECMAScript module. Okay, need to stop the server and restart again. And then we hopefully, oh, I have an error. that's very unpleasant, and the reason is I have changed my directory, so probably need to fix this for the server and for the client. And then you see nothing because upper and lower case. We don't want those warnings as well. Okay, now the warnings are gone, but what you see only like the client side GS build here, nothing else. And this is not what we want. What we want is the server and the client to be built. So I'm going to stop the server one more time and open the proc file here and add a server-side render process as well. I restart and we should see server-side rendered and JavaScript here. So I could also name this client, but I think we all get the idea. And now when I go to build, let's just change something here so that we get a new file. We definitely get a new version of it. This looks a bit different than the client side. Like it's not an immediately executed function expression anymore, but instead it's like a plain ECMAScript module. And we definitely will, I mean, this is huge, but we will see the export of the app server as default as the default function. So this is exactly what we want for isorun, and now we are pretty much set up to get this up and running. The only thing we need to do is opening our view again, and where we previously put like manually put this ID app blah blah blah, we're going to add a tag help. We're going to use a tag helper for isorun called isorun app, and we're going to add one thing here, that's the asset ID. So we have moved the entry points to client and server. The asset ID is app and app server, but by convention isorun will pick the default client ID and just concatenates the server to it. This is a convention, and you can configure it in isorun to not resolve it this way, but that's the default behavior. So as long as you're following that, it should just work. And now we have added isorun, and I hope it doesn't blow up. And here we go. So you probably see, oh yeah, we have seen this before, and this is pretty much the same thing, but there's one huge difference. Going to disable JavaScript now, and it still looks the same. We don't have JavaScript, but we have this thing here rendered here. And if we inspect, or sorry, if we look at, that's not what I want. If we look at the page source, that's what I want. We now see that the application here is actually rendered properly. It also adds the client-side bundle to be loaded after the application is loaded. So this is exactly what we want. We do see something weird here. There is like two div ID app, and when I turn on JavaScript again and we look at the console, we do see expected server HTML to contain a matching div in blah 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 blah. So it's broken, and the reason why it's broken is because I don't need this. I don't need to wrap it in the ID. The ID is automatically created, and if I reload now, we have the perfect setup. It looks different now because I can fully, or I should fully configure my application within the app itself. So I have removed class name, blah, 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 blah. Going to edit here. And I still think I have done something wrong. Or did it look like that before? I can't remember. Maybe, maybe not. We will see it in the video. The one thing I just wanted to show you folks is that I can design stuff here. Let's do this. Let's make this yellow. Not sure if this is working. Oh yeah, here we go. And this is another interesting thing, and you did not recognize it because it just works. When we change something here, when a new bundle is created, the server will automatically pick up the new bundle for server-side rendering. So during development mode, or in Rails development, the environment is set. We actually reload the module, and in production, to be super fast, we completely rely on V8's caching mechanisms and the optimized compiler output. So if you have executed the JavaScript once, it will be super fast. I mean, you can take a look here. It's a bit jumping, but it's kind of expected locally. It's relatively fast. I did a small benchmark. There's also like a benchmark directory in the isorun repo. And yeah, so I originally said I want to do GraphQL and everything else as well today, but I think the video is way too long already, and I'm going to save it for another time. And then we will add Apollo provider, GraphQL API, and we will look into how we can extract state. And yeah, there's a lot of other advanced stuff like calling directly into Ruby from JavaScript and sending values between Ruby and JavaScript. So yeah, thanks a lot for your attention, and yeah, I hope you find isorun useful, and please provide feedback. Let me find the GitHub repo. Please provide feedback here. You can create issues. Contributions are welcome, so don't be shy. Just add stuff here. Okay, thanks folks. Bye bye.